Cowboys Wire article here for you. I think if the Cowboys are short somewhere on defense, it's now clearly inside linebacker. I think it's one of the few positions of need. I think they do need to add a veteran either in training camp or shortly after. And this is kind of an article about how they stack up in the division. And I think this is big because you need a good second level, I think, to be a great defense. I don't think you can have total jobbers running around at linebacker and be a great defense, and it's going to get you hurt in more than a few games throughout the year, no matter how good your pass rush and your secondary is. And, this is a place where the Cowboys have decided to go cheap. We're going to go cheap at kicker. We're going to go cheap at linebacker, it appears. And there's not too many of these Cowboys are going cheap at, but it's clear it is. And I think, man, for $5 to $6 million, you could really shore this thing up. They're not going to do it. I get it. Linebacker is not a spot where I'm going to start building my team. But if I'm thinking I'm a contender and this is a go-for-it year, we need more than one guy who's almost always broken.
Yeah. I think that if you get into training camp, much like Broadus was talking about the running back spot, he thinks that could be a spot where maybe they go try and add cheap veteran help if they feel the need to after some preseason games or something. I think linebacker could be similar because they have some young guys that they have invested in and they probably want to see through because they are such a draft and develop team. But there are guys like Zach Cunningham, 28 years old, Deion Jones, familiarity with Dan Quinn, available, Miles Jack, veteran Kyle Van Noy, who I'd even be open to, Quan Alexander, Jared Davis. There's a couple of guys out there that you might be able to go get. I think Zach Cunningham would be at the top of my list.
I think they're really excited about Damone Clark and what he can do this year. He's apparently been side-by-side Leighton Vander Esch working all offseason long. They've been really good, and he's been imparting wisdom, much like Hankins and Mozzie Smith right now as well. The big question mark is Jabril Cox. And he's a guy that, the beat was reporting had some really good practices. Of course, it was during the 7-on-7 periods, Brian, where we had to leave.
Right.
But if they can get something out of Jabril Cox, I think all of a sudden you feel completely different about the linebacker group.
I've seen Malik Jefferson get work too.
Yeah.
And I don't quite know that one. I didn't expect that one to happen, but I was kind of hopeful about with Overshone and then Devin Harper and, those kinds of guys. I was kind of thinking, man, I hope maybe you'll see more of those guys during training camp because they weren't part of what the first team defense was doing on the varsity end of the field. It was guys like Malik Jefferson and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, man, is he really a part of what we're about to do here?
Well, I hope they find one of these young guys to step up. I mean, they're prospecting. They can find corners and safeties on day 3, no problem. Linebacker, I think, should be an easier spot to find athletes who have the instincts to get to the football. They're not, significantly highly rated. They're kind of like the running back of the defense. But anyway, Mike Crum here, Cowboys Wire. The best inside linebacker in the situation in the division right now would go to Washington. Jamin Davis and Cody Barton have both had 100 tackle seasons. It doesn't take a lot to be the best inside linebacker duo in this division, though. Second best is the Giants with, is it Bobby Okereke?
Okereke, yeah.
As a free agent, I believe, from the Colts. And Jared Davis, who, when healthy, has been very productive, but he's been hurt the last couple of years. That's probably the second best linebacker situation. The Eagles have a ton of potential. Nakobe Dean, remember all the talk about him?
Yeah.
Pegged as a first-round pick last year.
Into the third round, yeah.
Goes third round, never made an impact, played in 34 snaps, collected 13 tackles. And Nicholas Moreau is not a superstar addition, but he could be a free agent steal. Pro Football Focus grade suggests he could be overrated with a run grade under 50 and a 54 grade overall. So there are the Eagles. If they have a weak spot on their defense, and it showed big time last year against the run, didn't it? Probably how they ended up getting beat in the Super Bowl as well, is just not having great linebacker play. So here's what Cowboys Wire has on the Cowboys' unique linebacker room due to the fact they regularly play a hybrid safety and their best edge rusher at linebacker. But in ranking these positions, Jaron Kearse is a safety and Micah Parsons is an edge rusher. That's reality. That leaves Dallas with a single reliable starter and a ton of potential. He mentions Damone Clark, Jabril Cox, DeMarvion Overshone, Devin Harper, Malik Jefferson, and Isaiah Land that are all getting a chance to be a breakout player next to Leighton Vander Esch next season. Is this a deal kind of like running back where we're going to give a combination of rookies and recently drafted guys a chance, and as we get close to September, we'll figure out if any of them have risen to the occasion?
Be my guess. That'd be my guess. And
yeah.
I do think they're 100% right about the idea of the way Dan Quinn likes to play things. He's got the safeties or linebackers.
Exactly.
In this scenario.
That's what you got to factor in.
He
Like,
knows-
You got to pray to
yeah.
God Vander Esch stays
Curse
healthy.
and Wilson are essentially de facto linebacker hybrid roles.
Yeah, he's going to go with Vander Esch, and he's going to go with Curse, and whoever that third guy is, that's how they're going to roll. But I could say I'm hopeful for Clark. This time last year, we didn't even think he was going to play. And
Yeah,
then-
the neck thing, right? It went
the
spinal on him.
back, the back neck area, yeah. But
He was bad last year.
he was. That's the thing about it is that when he was bad when he didn't have Vander Esch next to him.
Oh,
There was that time when Vander Esch was not playing there for a couple of games, and it was him and Barr, and it's like Barr couldn't help him. Like he needed Vander Esch to kind of maybe line
Here's
him
what
up.
they're doing. This is what we're doing.
Be ready for a slant. You get linebackers that Sean Lee mentality where they can read what formation's going to be. And I think that I don't think Barr did anything to help, but you're right. Clark wasn't great, but the guy that wasn't great was Cox. They tried to get him on the field, and they just couldn't make that thing work.
Clark's the only one with a large enough sample size to make a determination.
If it comes into having to put somebody on the field, that if there's a big unknown of all the other guys, they'll put Clark back on the field.
So we go to this is Cowboys Wire. Mike Crum. Clark has the size, work ethic, and athleticism to end up being a star, but he played nearly 60% of the snaps last year with average production. He had under 50 total tackles and less than 30 solos, and he honestly looked lost at times without Vander Esch.
Yeah.
By the end of the year, Clark could be the top linebacker in the division, though. But like Dean on the Eagles, he has to show his work translates on the field before he can be ranked higher than either starter on the Commanders. When healthy, Vander Esch is excellent, gets his young teammates in the right position, long and athletic enough to be disruptive in coverage, capable blitzer, and an 801 total snaps, only missed 6 tackles. Unlike Okereke or Morrow, Vander Esch isn't learning a brand new system and getting used to all new teammates, so he could improve even more going into season 3 with Dan Quinn. That'd be exciting. I think it's just terrific that Leighton Vander Esch has figured out what it takes to keep that neck healthy and be reliable enough for this football team.